Hey everybody, Ramey here, and today what we're going to talk about is motivation, student engagement, and video games. Some of my favorite topics. Okay, so about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that, several years back, I wrote a paper. You can see the citation right now. And it was finally accepted in a very high-end journal in the field, which I'm very proud of. Me and my team, we did a great job. Great job, guys, if you ever watch this. And what I want to do is I'm going to talk about our findings because it's a really fascinating study, dealing with some topics that I'm really, really, really excited about. And I think it's very, very timely considering a lot of people are going online right now. Okay, so basically, let's start out from the beginning. So, I mean, if you want to be real about video games and education, most games designed for learning are pretty bad. I mean, they're really glorified flashcards, just not like, math, like flashcard game kind of thing. They're not usually very good. They're not fun. They're not as fun as League of Legends, Overwatch, or Rocket League, or any game like that. They're just not. Like, you don't have someone sitting there playing an educational game for 2,000 hours. Maybe with the exception of Minecraft, which was created for fun, but we're using it for educational purposes. Games for education are just not made like that. So, the question becomes, there's been some research out there that's shown that just playing any video game like Call of Duty or World of Warcraft or League of Legends or any of these games, Super Smash Brothers, whatever it is, actually increases student achievement and motivation and does some really cool things like that. So, what we set out to do is we asked, could presenting a group with a video game and let them play for several minutes, a fun game like a Call of Duty, just any game, could they play a fun game? This was kind of our hypothesis. Someone could play a fun game and then do their actual computer-based training, their training that they had to do, versus a group that just didn't play any kind of game and then did their training. That the group who played the game would be better engaged, more motivated, and actually perform better. All right, so let's talk about the study. Let me tell you exactly what we did and how we did it. All right, so the purpose of this study was to examine whether a casual game, when logged into an LMS, would make a significant impact on employee engagement within the learning platform. This was done over a 12-month period, and we asked the following research questions. Does the opportunity to play a game impact the level of employee engagement with the gamified LMS platform? And does a higher level of engagement correlate with an increase of learning? So basically, we were trying to see if we present a group with a fun game, do they do better? Are they more engaged? Do they do better? I mean, that's the nuts and bolts of what we were asking. All right, so kind of cool. So as I said, this was done over 12 months. We used 2 different companies. We had 6,301 learners, so a significant amount of employees. These were retail associates for 2 different companies. And basically what we did is we gave company 1, they took the training. The training was based on like sales and how to be a sales associate and stuff like that. And then we gave company 2 the same training, but before they would take the training, they were allowed to select a fun game of choice and play that for several minutes. Now, what the employees were asked to do 5 minutes of training per day. So a real quick like micro learning module. They could do more if they wanted to, but we asked them to at least do a 5-minute module a day. So now the group who played the game would play a game and then do their 5-minute module. The other group would just do their 5-minute module. So let's talk about the results. Okay, results are pretty interesting. And results did find in line with what I thought was going to happen. Our hypothesis came true, which is super exciting when that happens. And when it doesn't happen, it tells you you ask why it didn't happen and question it and say, did I do something wrong? Or maybe that's just not what, maybe this is correct and I was just wrong. But what we thought was going to happen did. So let's talk about these results because I think that they're really, really, really interesting, and let's talk about what they mean. So employees in the game condition, first of all, they logged in 51% more often. 51% more often. So what does that mean? So like if an employee came to work, you know, we asked them to take the training every day, but if they were too busy or had something to do, you know, they wouldn't be able to do it, and maybe they just didn't fit in the time. So we found out that employees that got to play the game actually went and did the training 50%, but it's not like they did it just a little bit more, 50% more. That's a significant amount. Start thinking about the numbers. Like if we had you know, we're talking about 3,000 employees here, 50% more training is a significant amount more time that they're dedicating to training. Okay. So at the end of training, like when you were done for the day, you know, you went through this computer-based training, you took a little quiz based on the 5-minute thing, and then you could go look at like an achievement or leaderboard to see like, how are you doing compared to other people who are taking the training? What we found is that, so I'll just tell you the mean because it was a significant difference. Employees who were in the game condition, the mean times they looked at it was 9.88. The mean times people in the no game condition looked at it was 2.96. So that tells you that there was a significant amount more of motivation. So first of all, we know that these employees were engaged more to log in more. We also know that these employees looked at their achievement and scores more often. Okay, so the next part of this, which I've talked about a little bit, is that employees could actually continue to take training beyond the 5 minutes if they wanted to. All right, so what we found is that employees in the game condition actually took 2 times as much training. They were 2 times as likely to go in and take more training. They took 2 times more training. So the video game condition gave people enough, like it gave them this motivation to actually do double the training. That's huge. That's a huge, huge, huge number. And you got to remember, we had 6,000 some participants here. So we're not talking about like comparing 2 groups of 10. You know, this is a big, big difference. And finally, and this is probably the big, big thing, learners in the game condition scored significantly higher, almost like 3.5 times better, performed 3.5 times better on their assessment. So what does all this mean? Like, what does this tell us and why is this important? First of all, it tells us that like, maybe we don't need to focus so much on and use like develop these low budget games for education. Like they're great. And I think that we need to do it, but like it becomes somewhat of this focus. Like we have all these really cool games out there. So can we, you know, and the question educators are always asking and people in corporate training, can we pull that motivation someone has to play a video game and put that into my workplace or into my classroom? And the answer is maybe we can. By letting these employees just play a game for several minutes before their training. They logged in more, they took more training, they looked at their achievement and comparison a lot more, and they performed way better. Those are big, big, big findings. I'd love to see more research. So, for future reference, I would love to see more research that helps confirm this. Now, this was a large study done over 12 months. It was a difficult thing to do when you're talking about that amount of people, but this is what we need. We need these large as controlled as possible studies like this in real environments to see how this really works, to help back up the findings that we found here. Because this is a significant, significant study. And I hope you check it out and actually read the full study because it's a really great study in a really good journal. I'm really happy it's finally going to be published. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day.